So, I have been in the space for a while. I'm not a dark wallet developer for a while now, obviously. I am here to talk about how we recover the funds of the DAO 10 years later. Because the DAO is a project that is resuscitated. So basically, in this talk, we are going to give a little bit of archaeology and a little bit of how did we grab the funds from forgotten contract that was there for 10 years with around $100,000 for a long time. So the DAO was one of the experiments that was good and also very bad at the same time. It helped people understand that we can use Ethereum and the internet in general to grab a lot of money and use it for a cause. But the DAO was, at the same time, one of the most notorious hacks in the history of Ethereum. And it also teaches us that audits are a very important thing, and you can never be sure that a contract is going to hold. So it raised at the time a lot of money. It was the 14% of Ethereum circulation at the time. In the DAO, you could do two kinds of proposals. You could do a normal proposal in order to make the DAO do something. It could be, I would like to send tokens to this person or whatever. These ones cost 2 ETH as a deposit, and you recover it when you execute the proposal. But there was another thing that was very interesting, which is if you disagree in how the DAO is going, you can fund your own DAO. So you, with the people who believe like you that the DAO is not working, you can create your own DAO with this split proposal. And this is where the hack was wrong, let's say. There was a function in this split proposal that allowed you to pay the people the rewards that they accumulated in the DAO. This is a contract that has a function that calls a function that calls a function that at the end sends Ether. The Ether has a receive function or a fallback function. So that allowed any attacker to execute code in the middle of that process. So the attacker could literally recall that same function in an iterative way. And at the last step, the only thing that we were checking is that the balance of that person is going to be 0. So you could reuse the same DAO tokens, let's say, the same vouchers, in order to grab more rewards than you actually was able to have. So that is back in 2016, and it was a very bad thing. This is the code that led to an Ethereum fork. So if today we have Ethereum Classic and Ethereum Normal, let's say, it's because of this. So I think that people stopped talking about the DAO because they didn't want to remember what happened. But the DAO was still there. So it kept doing things, right? It actually accumulated some ETH. During the first years, it accumulated up to 43 ETH, and then stayed like this. We believe that it's because people were burning their ETH in there, or they were having errors in their transactions, and they ended up putting ETH there. Back in the time, it was not that much, but today's money, it was a considerable amount of money. So it was actually vulnerable to hackers to attack, and nobody did. But the DAO, as I said at the beginning, resurrected. Maybe there is a better word for that. And I received a call. Griff, one of the White Hat members, White Hat group members, back in the day when that was managing all the mess of the DAO, called me and said, "Sam, we need you to help us. What do you think? Jordi Bailina, you and me, let's recover these funds." Jordi thinks that it's possible. We just have to do a little trick, and those funds are easy to recover. And I said, OK, yeah, for sure. So we use the same pattern that the original attacker used. We have to submit a split proposal, wait a bit. People can join that period of time. It's like anyone who wants to fund a new DAO, they can join at this time. It's 7 days. That was a little bit terrifying, because if somebody did join us in the splitting of the DAO, they could attack the DAO the same way as us. So we did it in a very stealthy way. We just put some voting contracts in the blockchain without any attacking thing. So it was. We hope that it was stealthy, and actually it was, because the risk was clear. The risk was they can front run us if we are not prepared. So it was a little bit tense, those 7 days looking at the blockchain, if somebody was joining and literally executing after the time period ends. So we had luck, and nobody joined. So it gave us a lot of time, actually, to perform on hack. At the same time that we were doing this, the DAO was having new communications on. We are using the old DAO money to stake in DApp node, and the yield is going to go to security projects. So now that we were, there are some people here actually that have security projects, I think. So now that we already had this assurance that in 28 days we will have nobody, well, at least 7 days we won't have anybody trying to steal the money, we could do some communications. And afterwards, what we did was a little bit, let's say that in order to explain that to my therapist, I had to develop a sort of metaphor, right? And I decided to come here and explain it. So one of the things that we were fighting was the tide. If we have very low gas prices, we are fine. We can recover a lot of money. If we have high prices, we are fucked. So we were waiting for the night, let's say 12 in Europe time till 8, something like that, in which we had very low prices, gas prices. And the ship was visible. The ship is the DAO. The trick that Jordi shared with me was like, hey, we should actually lift the ship because the state is broken. There is an underflow in this variable. But if we close all the proposals, we will put that ship in a state that we can extract the gold. So this is what we did. we closed all the proposals of the DAO, and the actual balance variable undid the underflow. And then, let's say that with the 2 voting contracts that we had, that joined the split of the DAO, and joined the proposal, we will represent here as excavators, okay? They are the only 2, well, we had 4 or 5, but all of them were ours. And we put at work 2 of them. So the normal working will be that I give the DAO tokens and I receive the Ether inside. But using the reentrancy attack, we could give the DAO tokens once and receive 50 times the Ether inside. But it's not only that. You can also don't give the DAO tokens. You can pass the DAO token somewhere else, because the only thing that is going to happen is that the DAO is going to put your DAO tokens at 0. But if you don't have DAO tokens, it will stay the same. So we grab 30 times, and then before it ends the transaction, we pass the DAO tokens to the other excavator. I call this ping-pong attack, because the excavators were passing the DAO tokens back and forth. There was another thing that was important, is that these DAO tokens are dirty, and we had to clean them. We had a lot of, let's say, water to clean them. And we didn't have that much water. It was dozens or hundreds of ETH in order to clean those tokens. So my idea was to, okay, let's do a flash loan in Aave. So it reduced the cost a lot. But instead of reusing the water, instead of recovering the water, you are losing a lot of water, because it's land water and it has a premium. So we had another idea. Instead of washing all of them at once in one transaction with the same money, we were washing chunks of it. So it's part of how the DAO reward system worked. We literally needed to send money in order to clean the rewards to get back the money and make this thing usable in between. So the first stage was to clean that in chunks using the same money that we received from the Aave flash loan, and then return the money to Aave, just pay a very little fee, and we had the DAO tokens clean and useful to ping-pong between the 2 excavators. So the day of the attack came, and the excavators were not working, not fast enough. We needed to do it meanwhile the tide was down, but the 2 excavators were going very, very slow. Let's say that one excavator finished, the transaction went through, but the next excavator was not there in order to catch up. And we had a problem. We didn't know how to solve it, and we were already performing the recovery, right? So we had a little bit of time to think for a solution. And meanwhile, I was in a talk with Griff. He told me, I think that somebody explained me the ETH gas and ETH the ETH gas and ETH gas limit as if it was an electrical vehicle or a bike. He told me that once you reach a certain point, if you undo things that you were doing, you still have a little bit of gas in order to continue. And it was like, oh, that has sense. Let's, maybe what we are doing here, doing these 50 iterations, basically it stops because it cannot do a 51th iteration because it stacks a lot of functions. It's a recursive call, so it stacks a lot of things. Maybe if we do only 50 here, but pass the tokens to the other excavator and call the other excavator in order to do 50, it works. It didn't work, but it worked with 48. And then it passes the DAO tokens to the other excavator, and it works, but with 46. So it's this nice picture in which every time we could do less, but you can go further away just by reducing the amount of iterations every time. So instead of only doing till here, we were doing till there. And this is how we recovered the funds. It improved per 6 the amount of tokens that we could, the amount of ether that we could retrieve. And in 8 hours, we had this. And basically, we could retrieve 57 ethers at the time because some of our ethers were there. We were also doing other stuff in the DAO that required some proposals, and we recovered our own ethers this way. And the fee that we had to pay in order to recover these funds was only of the 1.5%. It was a very, very efficient attack. During that time, 151,000 DAO token transfers were done because we were transferring the tokens back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was a lot. So, where this money is going, it is sent to the DAO security fund. If somebody thinks that the money is legitimately theirs, please contact them. In the meantime, it's going to be custodied by the DAO security fund, and they basically stake ETH. And with the rewards, they fund Ethereum security projects. They are currently having this Ethereum security quadratic funding round in Giveth right now. So if you want to check security projects and support them, you can go on Giveth and check them out. And I think that this will be it. Check the link there. And we have 5 minutes for questions. I think, at least here it says 5 minutes.
Yes, we do. Does anyone have questions to the author? Okay, I think if there's no questions, we can finish a bit earlier. Thank you for incredible speech. And that's great that you return the funds to their owners and that you don't just keep them to yourself. Very generous way. I don't think everyone would do the same, but that's a cool job. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.